Hey guys, I want to do a quick blog here. Basically, it's to answer some questions. Since I've been back shooting videos, I've been getting the same questions from a bunch of different people, and it's you know, sometimes it can be it's hard to answer all your questions through the comments. So hopefully the guys that have been asking these questions are watching this blog, and I can give you the answers to some of these questions. Excuse me. So that's what I'm going to try to do here. And believe me, guys, look, y'all don't know how much I appreciate y'all watching my videos and all the great comments you guys leave me. Guys, if I don't comment back, please don't be insulted, and don't feel like I don't appreciate it, because that's absolutely not true. But sometimes I just don't have the time. You know, I have my kids, and you know, I got, you know, you got 2 young kids like I do, you know, that's a handful. And then between work and that, you know, so sometimes I just can't do it. But please don't be offended. I appreciate all the comments and everybody that watches my videos. But anyway, all right, well, let's try to get started here. I'm gonna try not to drag this out too long. One of the biggest questions that I've been getting since I've started making videos again is, can you use the existing line set when you take out an R22 system and put in a 410A system? The answer is yes, you absolutely can. Now, you're gonna, you know, there's a lot of, now with what I'm about to say, there's a lot of guys here on YouTube that are probably not gonna agree with it. I'm probably gonna get some nasty comments on this video, which is fine because I'm used to that. But you absolutely can. Now, there are some things that you want to check before you do it. Number one, is the line set sized correctly? That's very important. You know, from when I was getting into it, from what the way I was taught, 1.5 tons to 3 tons, you can do a 1.5 tons and 2 tons. Sometimes you can do a 5/8 suction line. But I don't. I only use 2 size suction lines, 3/4 and 7/8. That's it. I know there's a lot of guys back in the R22 days that used to use 1 1/8. I never really used it personally. Now, if 1 1/8 is there, I'll leave it. You know, it doesn't hurt anything. But if I'm running a line set, if it's 1.5 tons to 3, I use 3/4. If it's 3.5 to 5, I use 7/8. And the liquid line is always 3/8 on 1.5 all the way to 5. So, okay. Anyway, can you reuse the line set? Yes, you can. But here's some things that you do want to make sure of before you do. One, is it sized correctly? Suction line and liquid. Number 2, does the line set leak? You want to verify that. If it leaks, obviously you need to replace it. And the third thing is that another question, do I blow out the line sets before I convert, when I take out R22 and go to 410A? Yes, I do. But this is where I'm probably going to get some of the nasty comments. But I don't use flush. I don't. The RX11 flush, I don't use it. I just use nitrogen. That's it. Straight nitrogen. You know, I have never, and I've been doing it like that for years. You know, when 410A first started coming around, you know, all the manufacturers tried to make me scared, and I was replacing line sets on every job. But anyway, nitrogen's fine. You use nitrogen, you're going to be just fine. A lot of guys are not going to agree with that. There's a lot of guys that use the RX11 flush, but I've heard that RX11 flush does more harm than it does good. So I blow mine out with nitrogen. There's a lot of guys here that do agree with me. If you ask Zach, which is Working Joe's Roundtable on here, and then his other channel, which is Talent 875 Pro, I believe he uses just straight nitrogen. Ralph with TNN Services, I believe he does the same thing. So yeah, absolutely you can reuse the line set. And okay, another question is that all these units that I've been setting here lately, like people ask me, is that a 410A unit? Yes, everything's 410A. There is no more R22. There's no more dry ships. There's only one company that makes a dry ship unit, and that's York. And it doesn't even have the York name on it. It has a Guardian name on it. It's a really dark charcoal gray condenser with a white Guardian tag. You can find that unit at a York supply house or a Luxair supply house or Coleman. Any York supply house, York branded supply house, and York is under York, Luxair, and Coleman, and then the Guardian name. They do make a dry ship unit, but it has a big 407C sticker on it, and it's made, you know, for 407C. But it doesn't come with 407C in it, though. It comes with nitrogen. You got to let the nitrogen out, pump a vacuum, and then charge it up with 407C. So, yes, when you see me set a unit, if it's not a Guardian, if it's, you know, and I try not to do them. Now, I have set a couple of those Guardians, and they've done good so far, you know, knock on wood. But yeah, if you see me setting anything besides a Guardian, and 99% of the time it's going to be Ream, and if it's not a Ream, it's going to be an ICP, yeah, it's 410A. So yes, everything I do is 410A. Question from the video from last night where I changed out just a condenser. That was on a mobile home. It had a Mortex coil, and the Mortex coil was only 2 years old. I called in the serial number, and it was made for R22 and 410A. It had a thing on it that said R22/R410A. And then somebody asked me, you know, there's a guy on here that knows me, and I don't know if he was being stupid or whatever, but he asked me if I changed the metering device, and you know, I just laugh at stuff like that. It's like, really? No, I didn't change it. I left the old one in there. Of course I changed it. It was running a piston. I took the piston that was out because it was sized for R22. Now keep in mind, there's no such thing as an R22 piston and a 410A piston. A piston is a piston, it just goes by size. 410A requires a smaller piston on a certain tonnage. Like I had a chart somewhere, it's on my phone, and that's what I'm filming on. But just an example, I think 4 ton, which is what that condenser was, a 4 ton R22 I think called for a 84 piston or an 82, something like that. Well, the 410A calls for a 76 on a 4 ton. Well, when I went inside to replace the piston, the guy actually had a 90 piston in there. So his piston was way too big for 410A and for R22. He had a 90 piston, that's for a 5 ton. So he had way too much refrigerant going into that evaporator. So this new unit's going to perform much better because I did replace it with a 76 piston. That's what the unit called for. So, let's see. Oh yeah, and a little bit here, we'll talk about the mineral oil video that I did. I mean, the polyester all 407C video that I loaded last night also. Been getting some comments today, you know, about, oh, this one's going to bite you, you know, you didn't take out the mineral oil, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know, let me explain something to you. Y'all saw the hole in there, in that suction line. Guys, the guys that are saying that, do y'all realize that when you have a Freon leak and you lose Freon, y'all do realize that you lose oil too, right? I hope y'all realize that, because you ever go on a system and you say, "Go look at the oil everywhere." There's a Freon leak right there. Remember, you said look at the oil everywhere, because you're losing oil too. You're not just losing refrigerant, you're losing oil. Now, Zach, again, working Joe's Roundtable, and Talon 875 Pro is really good. I've learned a lot from him. He's helped me with a lot of things. He's a great guy. Shout out to you, Zach. He's got some documentation that says that you can put polyester oil on top of the mineral. I was told to do however many ounces of mineral oil is in the compressor, which that unit had 42 ounces. You multiply that by 15%. You put 15% of polyester, because all you're trying to do is that mineral oil will not carry 407C back to the compressor. only polyester oil wheel. So all you're trying to do is introduce some polyester oil so the refrigerant can get back to the compressor. You take 42 and you multiply it by 15%, it comes to like 6.2 ounces. So I introduced about 6 ounces of polyester oil into that Rude system yesterday, and it's running just fine. And to the guy that said this one's going to bite me, well, I'm going to disagree with you, because I've done this to several units, okay? And I have not had an issue at all. Not one issue. I mean, I've got several units out there that are well over a year old since I've done this, and they're running just fine. So anyway, hopefully that answers some of these questions. And if you know, I'll be happy to do these blogs to answer any more questions, but this is the easiest way to do it. So if you have questions at the end of this video, my contact information is at the end, my email and my phone number. Feel free to email me, text me. I don't mind people calling me. I really don't, guys, but shoot me a text before you call me. If you want to call me, I have no issues with that, but just text me first, because sometimes I'm busy, and if you call me, I can't pick up the phone. And sometimes I'm real bad. If I don't recognize your number, I may not answer, because I get a lot of telemarketer calls too. So if you want to text me, you can text me. If you want to email me, email me. My contact information is at the end of this video. If you want to call me, just shoot me a text first. Tell me who you are, and I'll be glad to answer. And I'll be glad to tell you if I'm available to talk, or tell you when you can call me. So anyway, thank y'all so much for watching, and we'll see y'all on the next one.